delay of game.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Timm Metivier.
And welcome to
Delay of Game.
This is a series that Tim and I are doing together where Tim is going and finding the games that he may possibly should have played and takes a look at them, and I will go back and take a look in the past at them. And so if you want to see the full review of the game or how the game plays, we'll put a link in the description below. But today we're talking about kind of an older game, but it's also new because they just reprinted it last year in 2020.
Yes.
But the original printing of this came out in 2007. And this is Tammany Hall, designed by Doug Eckert and published originally by Stratomax Games, but then Pandasaurus did a nicer production and again in 2020 reprinted it. So Tammany Hall, I don't know how much you know about the politics that Tammany Hall is talking about.
It's from what I've been told, and I need to go watch the movie, but the movie that Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis, The Gangs of New York, is that correct?
It's a little like that, maybe a little less dramatic, but I mean yes, during that time with Boss Tweed and all these different things. In fact, this game uses the cartoon of Ogden Nash to kind of show it. I mean, it looks like an actual historical print of some degree. And what it is you are controlling, these gangs in New York City, fighting for political power. Now, if you watched our last delay of game, we talked about El Grande. Mm-hmm. And I think it's safe to say that this game feels like a direct descendant from that game.
Very much so, I would agree.
It is a 3 to 5 player game, and players are placing different groups from different ethnicities out there. You got the Irish and you got the Italians, and then you're also trying to curry political favor with those groups. So I'm trying to control different areas, but if there's a bunch of Italians there, I'm trying to also get the Italians to like me so that they'll vote for me when the election comes.
Yeah.
Tammany Hall takes place over, honestly, we might laugh about it now, but it was a pretty sordid time in U.S. history. And this game does not hide that because there's a pretty sordid thing in this game. You are not being nice to one another. You are definitely constantly trying to take maneuvers to oust each other from control. So when you got this game here, Tim, what was the thing that led you to play it in the first place? What brought this to your attention?
Well, again, just a recommendation from a friend who said, you got to play it. I love it. Listen to this. I've heard it for a while now, and I just had the opportunity to get it to the table, and I'm really glad I did. And we'll get into that, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah, so this is interestingly enough. It's a game that when you first play it, you're a little thinking there's not a lot of decisions. It feels you can put out someone in. Well, no, but I mean at the beginning there's a few places you put someone in a territory, or you put two different people out that control territories, or you put one out and add immigrants and take some favor. Which one of those do you want to do? And then the game gets a little cutthroat in these little elections. Whoever has the most people in each territory wins it, but when there's a tie, then you start bidding with that influence that you've curried from these different groups. But you are counting. I mean, you talk about a game where you count everything. I count everything.
Oh, yes.
Tim, you got 6 favor of the Italians, so if you bid 4 in that election, in the next election, you're not going to be able to bid those in. So there's this back and forth like that. And that's all interesting. And then one person is the mayor for a bit, and they get 2 points, which in this game...
3.
Oh, 3 points, right. 3 points, yes. Which is not a small amount of points. That's a lot of points. But then they have to give political offices to everybody else. And as mayor, you were trying to give people political offices. These are useful powers that they're going to use, and you're trying to give people a power that they can't use very well. And you will then spend the next 15 minutes cursing the fact that you gave them that power that they are now stabbing you in the back with. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely correct. Absolutely.
So what did you think about how all this meshed together like that?
Okay, so first of all, I want to start with a couple of things. I am generally not a theme person as far as, I'm just like, moving cubes, moving this, that, whatever. However, I'm really intrigued because it does use the ethnic groups, right? The English, the German, the Irish, and Italians, and it does have the political offices, the slander, the police chief, whatever. So it does have actual historical, whether not only ethnic groups, but political positions and offices in the city. So I'm really intrigued, and I want to be involved in the theme and learn more about it for the game. Then I also like about this game how in the rules, and there's probably a couple games you would probably know better than I do, Tom, right off the bat that you can mention, but it specifically says negotiating, deals, all that stuff is allowed. However, no one is obligated to honor any deals that are made, right? So,
sure. Well, most deals are going to be, don't go in that territory, or I'll go in that territory, or you know what, just let me win this election. And you need to let me win this election because you need to gear up to go up against Dave, who is going to beat both of us if we don't watch out.
Correct. So I love how that is part of it because, a lot of times we talk about when you play games, everybody's looking down, right? Moving your pieces. But this is a game, not only are you looking down, at the board, but there's a lot of up here, right? Looking at each other, talking, interacting, because you're making the deals, you're negotiating, you're, trying to maneuver, connive, and do stuff with other people. And it's just really good. And again, so I had the chance to try this at 3, 4, and 5 people. And just like we talked about in El Dorado, I think 5 again is the sweet spot because, first of all, the board is fully open when you play with 5 people, meaning you can open the game at the beginning, put your pieces out anywhere to try to take out any areas. When it's only 3 or only 4, certain areas are cut off, like in the first year, then they're opened up the second year, and so on and so forth like that. Then when the mayor hands out the positions, there's actually 4 because the mayor gets his role, and that's the 3 points. But then he's got 4 others to hand out. So when there's only 3 people, you're only handing out 2 of the roles. So they're not all in play. But when there's the full 5 and you're the mayor and you got to hand out those 4, you really have to think, why am I giving this to him? Because I'm giving that to her. They'll be able to do this and get that, and you can talk. It's really, really good. I like that really kind of interaction there. And then the slander. The slander really is what you can use once per year after the first year. So the second, third, and fourth year, you have the opportunity to slander people, and you can actually remove some of their people from the territories, their bosses, from each individual territory.
Yeah, it's interesting to slander because if you don't use it, it's worth points. So I have to sit there and figure out if that's worth doing. But I very much agree with you that the 5-player game is the best way to play it. I don't dislike the other ones, but my word, 5-player game of this, there's almost nothing else like it. It is just that intense, back and forth.
Yes, and what's also really good is everything is open information, right? So you know how many influence tokens everybody has. Like if they're in a certain district, how many of this ethnic group they have, that ethnic group, how many, to this. So when you go to the blind bidding, you know what their potential is, right? And then you could see, because there's a certain track you must follow as far as the battles, I guess, for lack of a better term. What are they called? Do you remember? The interactions or something in each, trying to find out who is controlling the territory, right?
It's basically a vote.
A vote, right. So as you're going along, you're like, man, okay, I've got like 3 interactions or votes later in the, how it goes. Yeah. So I don't want to use them all here. I might give this up here, but I might bluff. And then you could you talk and you're like, yeah, I'm going to, it's so good. It really is.
Well, what do you think about the fact that whoever becomes the mayor each election and they get 3 points, that often will put them in the lead. And then the next round, everybody is, they're ganging up on that person. Or at least if you're like, I'm not sure to hit. Tim's the mayor. Tim's getting hit. Almost every game I played in it, that happens. What do you think about that? Almost a gang up on the leader aspect.
Of course, you have to. Because as you mentioned, 3 points. This is a really tight, as far as points-wise go, game. So you have to. Of course you have to gang up on the leader. You're not going to slander who's in last. You're not going to infect who's in last because you really want to do that. However, I've played 4, maybe 5 times now, so I haven't played a whole lot. And I'm still not quite sure, Tom, if the mayor, even though it's 3 points, is something you necessarily want.
Oh, I don't want to be the mayor. I want to be the mayor on the final round, on the final round of the game, because at that point I get 3 points, and that's really useful. At the very end. It is. No,
getting those. But some of the powers, like, right, you get to pick an influence token of your choice, or you get to move a cube, or you get to remove a cube.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying on the very final turn, to end the game, that's when I want to become in charge. But before that, you're right. And the turn I don't want to be mayor the most, the second last turn of the game.
Yes, yeah.
Because
the other powers to me seem like they could come because being able to lock down a district, so you can just lock it down, you're scoring.
I love moving immigrants around forcibly, moving them from one to another. You thought you had power with the Italians? I moved the Italians out. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. And and again, I guess this is the individual player's fault. When I talked a little bit about theme in the beginning, it's kind of up to us to really get into the theme, to learn more. But sometimes with games like this, and again, this is a me problem, I should probably call the cubes for what they are. I should say, okay, I'm going to move my Irish over here. You have too many Italians. And I don't. I'm like, okay, you have orange cubes, you have white cubes. So I think this is a game which I'm really going to try to use the proper vernacular when I'm playing the game, because I really think that the theming of it is important and makes it a much more immersive game. At least that's my thought. So I really want to try to play the game from now on using the correct terms.
Well, Tim, what do you think? Did you get a penalty?
Oh, 100%. Like you said before, again, this is a red card. This is a game, you said what, 2010?
2007.
2007. That's even worse.
It was a very small print run then. I think you can be excused for not having played it then.
Okay, 2007. Now, I know we've talked about this before, kind of off camera and stuff. This is one of those games, some people say take that, aggressive player interactions. So the actual play, I guess for full disclosure, may not be for everybody because – yes, yes, because you are, affecting people's play directly. And some people just don't like games like that. So please be advised that this is a game with heavy direct player interaction.
Sure. Now, I just looked it up, and so I reviewed the game in 2012 or 2011. So it was out in that small print run before that. I'm going to cut your penalty in half here, Tim, and I'll tell you why. Because even though this game is fantastic and it's fun, I don't think it got a lot of buzz. The name doesn't grab people, and it's in the top 1,000 games at Board Game Geek. So there's certainly people who talk about it a lot. Right. But it kind of faded out a bit, so I can see why you might have missed it. So I think it's fantastic. But even I myself, when I first played it, I liked it. But subsequent playings, and in 2020, I upped my rating to an 8.5 because I was like, this is an excellent, fantastic game. But it's that 5-player thing that swings me over every time.
Yes. So let me ask you something then. So 8.5, of course, is very good. It is very high. So what is the 1.5 that's missing from 10? I don't know how many 10s you've given out in your life, but what are the few things? Okay. but then what are the few things that don't maybe make this game a 9 or a 9.5 to you?
Oh my, no one asked me that, Tim. I don't know. I would say that I'm not always in the mood to play a game that's this vicious sometimes. Definitely the game has the same territories, and so parts of the game are going to be fairly similar from game to game. I don't know. True. Maybe that I don't want to play it with 3 and 4, that it's best at 5. Those are small things, but I give very few games an 8.5 percentage-wise. So.
Right. No, I understand. No, 8.5, again, is still very good. It's just that, this is, again, I'm one of those kind of people, I don't take it personally when we're playing a game. I know it's the game. Some people,
I'm going to smack you around next time we play a game.
Bring it on, Tom. Bring it on. Yeah, we got to play it because, yeah, it's just really good. It's such and to me, I think I would enjoy this game. You know, you get 5 really good friends together, 5 people who enjoy each other's company, and make it a long day, because it could be a long game if you add the negotiation, the talking, and, you know, you take a break, have some lunch, talk about the game, what you're doing, go back, play it.
What? This is a 2-hour max game. Come on.
No, you could make a nice.
I take that back. That I'm not playing this with Tim. 2 hours here. 2 hours, folks.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Well, that's Tammany Hall. It's pretty easy to get these points because, like I said, a new printing of it just came out last year. You can see us playing it online if you want to watch a game of it, and you can see how to play. They're all over the place. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Timm Metivier.
Have fun ruling New York.